Hey everybody, welcome to Highly Unlikely with Josh and Jenaye. I'm Josh.
I'm Jenaye,
as always. And today we have our friend Kayla, Pastor Kayla, Camp Speaker Kayla, Missionary Kayla,
Topanga,
Pilot Kayla, Teacher Kayla,
yes.
Chaplain. You can add that one in there too.
Kayla. So many things.
Yeah.
Welcome to Highly Unlikely with Josh and Jenaye.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here.
Exciting.
Kayla right now is serving. Where are you serving in the church on our team?
I am serving as a central next gen coordinator.
Yes.
So cool.
Which is a lot of great words,
We've had a lot
but it's a
of
very
next-gen
important job.
people on the podcast. We had Pastor Kyle
Oh,
just
yeah.
recently.
Mhm. Pastor Raymond.
Yeah. Jen, I guess. It's just a lot of staff team, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Jen is not
gold.
next gen, but her name is Jen.
Her name is Jen. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Josh is trying to give her a nickname, the generator.
I don't even know if I came up with
so much
it.
stuff. I'm like, oh, don't do it. Don't do it, babe. All right. We're gonna dive in. We walked in a little late to this recording. So if we are moving quickly through things,
We're going to go for
we're
it.
trying to honor Kayla's time and everyone's time. But I'm not skipping the question from the cube. I'm just not.
Okay, let's do
we're
it.
still gonna do it.
Okay.
Which I'm actually incredibly interested to hear this from you.
Okay. Now
What's
I'm really curious.
the best thing you've ever cooked?
Oh.
Your palate is so much more expansive than ours.
See, but here's the thing is I can't cook well.
Okay.
There's a joke in my family that I can make things well if there are 3 ingredients or less in it.
Nice.
So, so if you want
Oatmeal.
cereal, like PBJ.
PBJ
I
is
got
pushing
you.
it. You're at your max with
Yes.
PBJ.
I have a great meatball recipe that only requires a couple ingredients. But
That's funny.
I will say though, when I get together with friends, I like to do this thing called foreign food roulette, and we just
wow.
find a random recipe from another country, attempt to make it, like critique how we did, if we liked it, if we'd ever make it again.
That's so fun.
And I'm a little bit of a klutz in the kitchen, so I have like scars to this is from
like
making
burnt.
curry, and this is
Battle wounds.
I have a child
Battle
that you
ones.
need to minister to because they carry that same klutziness and always feel bad, but spill every day.
just interesting.
I understand them.
It's a part of life. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go into the story, but
So-
what's the best thing you've ever cooked?
The best thing, I've done a lot of like really good Indian curries.
Yeah.
Just spicy, lots of
Love
flavor.
that.
That's
Yeah.
a ton of fun. I tried to make shawarma one time, loved it.
That was the word.
Oh my
I was at lunch
gosh.
with somebody and,
And there was something on the, this is
What?
hilarious.
This is the Lord.
We were with Pastor Raymond and his
Okay.
wife, and there's a special of schnitzel. And he's like, isn't that Mediterranean food? I was like, that is definitely not Mediterranean. And he's like, there's a word
it's
that's like
it
Mediterranean.
goes with falafel and it starts with a
and the S, it starts with an S.
It was shawarma.
That's hilarious.
Shawarma, yes.
it was shawarma. That's amazing.
What are the chances?
Thank
Okay.
you.
So you made shawarma.
I did. Mm-hmm. It was.
I made that
an
once. Is that like
adventure,
chicken?
Yeah. Well,
Or
kind
mine-
of.
I did
And
just
it's more
chicken
about like
shawarma.
how it's prepared. Like it's like meat on rotisserie and then you shave it off. Like that
Yes.
I couldn't
Oh.
do. But I took like the spices and like
Wow.
made it that way. Like
Shawarma.
Very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Best thing I've ever cooked. You know, my kids really like I have these barbecue meatballs that they just say are the best, but
Yeah.
you know,
that's
that's
true.
a like 8-year-old, you know, feedback. But I have a chicken rice bake that also our family says, this is the best, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
So
now you're just making me hungry
I
again.
know, I'm sorry. Should have had some food. What do you cook, Josh? That's
Oh my gosh. I can see you firing shots with your eyes right now.
no, not firing shots.
Speaking the truth in love.
Yeah.
I did make a mean,
Honey, I don't know
What was it?
You're gesturing towards.
it's a really good part of an animal. That is beef.
brisket?
A good brisket one
Brisket?
time.
You did.
And
I'm waiting for Josh to really hone in like the meat making man side.
I know. Well, I have a friend who's all about smoking everything under the sun as far as putting it in a smoker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I think they're not
Sorry.
smoking everything. They're putting things in
in
smokers.
a Traeger. They're
Yeah.
putting
In a
things
Traeger.
in a
Okay.
Traeger.
And I think Jenaye's hoping I get inspired by it. But the other one I was going to say is, and this is not totally fair because part of it was store-bought, but there's this chicken wild rice concoction that I would put together that I thought was the best because I love chicken fried rice.
He does.
So.
It is so good.
Did I say wild rice?
You did
I meant
say
chicken
wild,
fried
but
rice.
fried rice,
Yeah.
Chicken fried rice. That is one thing.
You can't go wrong with
Tried
that.
and true.
No,
Yep.
it's the best. Staple.
Yeah. Well, we want to dive into just the topic we want to just dialogue about today. And just, I'm excited to hear from you and your heart. Because even you ending up here back in Bismarck, it's a back, like our journeys have kind of like full circle, come back together in just an unexpected way. And really the overarching theme of this podcast that makes, I think, What About Your Life highly unlikely is like, which I think is going to come up a lot, hearing the voice of God, discerning the voice of God. But like when we were talking about bringing you on the podcast, I just said like, I feel like Kayla has a really cool perspective in her story about like, what about when God brings you on a little detour that you didn't expect, or when plans don't go as you thought, or I'm not going to add any words to that, but
which I'll just preface that with, even we were talking a little bit about this the other day, and you guys were remarking before we got here that this room is where, when I started leading the church, you were, was it even interning or just volunteering?
I started volunteering in 2012, I think.
Wow.
But all that turned into eventually Kayla becoming the kids pastor at Evangel, and even in this room. And then transitioning and going and being a kids pastor with this guy that I had known for many, many years at a church in Maedche. And then coming back, like being called to missions, and then having a detour, and coming back on our team. And I think Jenaye just said the other day, like, man, even the humility to step back into a church role where you were in a pastoral role and now you're in a coordinator role, and just you're open-handed with God's detours.
We were in a meeting talking about so like who's just like killing it. We were just talking about like who's doing great, and like who have you just noticed? And I brought you up of like I've just noted her humility and her giftedness that she doesn't have to prop up and doesn't need to force a way for and trust the Lord with. So there's a lot of context. And maybe you're giving away some of the story, Josh.
I'm sorry, but I also the funny thing is right before that, I went to kids camp with my son, and you were the camp speaker.
I was, yeah.
Yes.
And I just had this full circle moment where I was cool in the eyes of the kids because I knew the camp speaker.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, Kayla? Yeah, I know Kayla.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Go by whack.
So funny.
UG days.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I feel like we're going to talk like some missions and then just like, your journey and story. But I just want to start off with like, tell us about just in general, like your journey with Jesus. And which, I mean, if you go into all detail, that's like a lot, but just in general, journey with Jesus. And then even like, how did a heart for missions in general, lost people in general, how did that develop?
Yeah. Well, it's been a part of me like as long as I can remember.
Wow.
And it actually started here in this church, because I grew up here attending Evangel as a kiddo, and my parents would tell me that anytime a missionary came to visit the church, like I'd be the first one to run up to the table and like grab a prayer card, or like I'd be the kid at home like flipping through books of just all of the different countries, the flags, just like learning and just soaking everything in. And hearing individual people go on missions trip to like Honduras or Europe somewhere, I would come back and say, I want to be that person. Like, God, I want to be someone that will share the gospel wherever you send me. And so, it just always was a part of me. And it wasn't until like my college days that I got to go on my first mission trip. So then since then, like I've been on 13 in the last 11 years. So,
where, just quickly, you don't have to name them all, but like, where have you been?
Some of them have been domestic. So I've been to like Alaska, California, Minnesota, taken kids on some of those. That was a ton of fun. And then internationally, like Chile, Dominican Republic, India, Burundi, Kenya, Spain, Austria. I'm sure I'm missing a few somewhere in there.
Right,
So
right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So why don't you I want you to unpack where we're kind of getting to. I don't want to like put words in your mouth by any means, but like, so like you have this heart for missions and then like, obviously called to ministry too, like, and take the track to becoming a pastor and take a job in that role. And then Like, what did God speak to you? Where did kind of all this end up being led by the Lord?
Which, I mean, even stepping into ministry was kind of an unlikely thing too.
Yeah.
I remember, so I was on my first international trip, missions trip to Chile. And I remember sitting in like our communal space that morning and just reading through my Bible, and God dropped a verse in front of me, and it was in Psalms, and it said, "I will awaken the dawn." And it just kind of hit me in the face, and I kept processing like, well, what does that mean? And he kept saying like new life in Christ, the next generation, and kids. And I sat there going, God, are you calling me to kids ministry? Like I'm getting a degree to teach high schoolers right now, history.
Wow.
Like ministry isn't even on my radar. And he just continually confirmed that in me. So then when I got back from that trip, I said, okay, God, like, do I go back to school and now go to Bible college? Or do I do some kind of internship program? Or like, I need an open door. And so I applied at a few places at schools and never heard back from them. Like, this is really strange. Like, I'd at least get the inundation of welcome emails and, packets and stuff. But none of that happened. But I kept praying that prayer, like, God, I need an open door for this if this is really what you want me to do. And very shortly after that, got a phone call from the kids pastor here at the time. And all he said was, hey, you've been on my mind. Like, God laid you on my heart. Come be my intern because I want to teach you everything that I know. And that was my open door.
All right, Lord.
Yeah, and just like never looked back from there. And then I remember him getting called to another church. So 9 months into my 12-month internship, he left and he's like, hey, by the way, I told the church that you'd be able to keep things afloat. And I remember just looking at him going, you're crazy. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still very green in this. And so, man, this is just really a full circle moment, because I remember after that conversation with him, I sat in this room because there was a kids stage in here, kids altar, and I knelt at the altar that's like now behind me and just bawled. And I said, God, like, I want to do this, but I don't know how. I'm not experienced enough. Like, I can't lead this large of a ministry. And he said, Kayla, you don't have to prove to anybody that you know what you're doing. You just have to show them that you trust me. And so I got up, walked out of this room, and I said yes. And it led to 11-ish years of being a kids pastor.
Wow.
And just never looked back. I loved every moment of it.
So cool.
Okay, so now I'm fast forwarding.
Yep.
So you have all this experience as a kids pastor.
Yep.
I went to kids camp, and you were planning on making a transition and going to the mission field. You were going to go to Spain.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And all of that was in motion. And I'm sharing this because I think it's powerful for people to like understand, like, you were committed, and there was people that were like supporting you, and even the kids that summer, raised money and rallied behind you. And then at some point you experienced a detour, and detours come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
And you correct us if that's not the right word that we've put to it, right?
Because sometimes they're disappointments, or they're, something didn't work out, or a door closed, or there's different reasons. I think the thing I'm trying to get to is everybody has moments where they follow God wholeheartedly and the door didn't open, or
they were opening and then,
Or Abraham and Isaac, like they went all the way up the mountain and God goes, actually, I was thinking this. And you're like, so did I come up the mountain for no reason? Or did you just want my obedience?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the question is, like, what did it look like to maybe start recognizing that God was redirecting you? Or
is
that where you're getting to? I'm so sorry.
Take me to the moment where you thought, maybe this is like changing direction. And when you're going full speed one way and God starts to turn things, how did you process that?
Or how did you discern it?
Yeah, how did you discern
goodness,
it?
It was really difficult. And I'll just go back further than that and say, like, I remember being in Spain. So I've been there twice.
Okay.
Both times was with the same ministry, just incredible ministry.
Right.
And the second time I was there, I was starting to notice that God was speaking to me very vividly and very clearly almost every day. Like, I have journal pages upon...
your journals was something I wanted to bring up in this. Like, how many journals do you have?
110.
And how old are you?
35.
I think I want to do a whole podcast on hearing the voice of God and like, too, the importance of journaling because like,
Yeah, I mean, I go back to them all the time and say, like, this is what God spoke to me in this season.
Yes.
Or, you know, it's just a memorial in my life that it keeps me going.
Right.
Yeah. So somebody from Barnes & Noble or some journal store right now, Kayla needs a sponsorship. She's earned it. Like, let's go.
Well, I actually had to go digital because I have like hand cramps to where like I can't write like I used to. So,
Oh my goodness.
but yeah. So anyways.
So Apple.
Oh my
Kayla needs a
gosh,
sponsorship. I'm sorry.
Let her talk.
Remarkable or something. Yeah.
Remarkable. Yeah.
We have one
Let's
of
go.
those.
Yeah. So anyways, the second time I was on the trip to Spain, like I started to notice that God was speaking very clearly to me and all of these just really vivid, beautiful visions. Like I would describe some of them to you if we had time, but just immaculate, just on my knees in tears kind of visions. And when I got home from that trip, I went back to my first time in Spain, that journal, so 2018 and 2023, and compared them. And like in 23, God showed me him turning this plaza where ministry was done, turning it into a garden. Like I could see the spiritual growth. It was beautiful. And in the 2018 journal, I have written down there, I was praying with the Lord and just chatting with him. And he told me that someday he's going to turn this plaza into a garden. And I had no idea that I had written that, like completely forgotten that. And now I'm comparing the two going, God, what are you doing? Like this is amazing. And so like I knew that God was speaking very clearly and I felt very clear in my spirit, like now is the time. Like I had always been waiting for that moment in my life. And now it was here. Like God gave me a country, God gave me a ministry to be a part of.
Right.
And I was thrilled. Like I was so excited. Just ready for a new adventure, just something that I had dreamed of since I was a little kid and something that people had spoken over me for so long too. Like, Kayla, when are you going to go overseas? When's your time? Like, oh, now is your time. Like, awesome.
Right.
And so I got my application all in and stuff and got onboarded and was in the process of like beginning to itinerate and spoke at camp. I moved home so I could save on like rent expenses, all of that while trying to fundraise. And I remember there were just all of these little moments and like, I can't describe all of them, but I remember just even holding my prayer card in my hand and it was really cool. Like my friend designed it to look like an airport badge because I'm a pilot. So it was really fitting.
That's cool.
So it was beautiful, but I remember holding it in my hand and I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like there was just like this, block in my spirit almost. Like almost when you're in a moment where, I don't know, you see a commercial on TV and you just feel uneasy and you're like, I can't watch or I can't be a part of this. That kind of like, like just a check in my spirit.
In your spirit, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So things like that would pop up in all these different places. Or
and this is now at the point where I'm like you've transitioned from the community you were in. You have like taken the step.
Yeah, like I was committed. I was going to Spain, like no looking back.
Yes.
So then things like that would happen. Or I had several people that were just like pillars of faith in my life that I'd go to for advice and just mentoring. And they were speaking things over me that they weren't like connected to each other, but they were saying the same things to me. And it was things like, Kayla, now is not the time. Like Spain may be in your future, but don't go yet. And I didn't ever tell them about some of these like checks in my spirit that I was having. And so I was like, Lord, are you asking me to stay? Like, why would you tell me that if you called me to go? Like, why didn't you just tell me to move to Bismarck? Or why didn't you just be more clear? And so I ultimately like had to make this decision of, well, I could make a great argument for why I should stay, but I can also make a great argument for why I should go. Like, now what do I do? You know? And so I ultimately had to say, okay, Lord, like, I think you're leading me in this direction. I feel like you want me to stay. There's something that I have to do here in Bismarck. Or I remember even one time, Pastor Josh, you were speaking and you were sharing like some of the vision that you had for our church in like the next like season or the next year. And I sat there and I knew that I was called to Spain, but I could feel my heart pounding for Bismarck. I was like, Lord, this shouldn't be. Like, you called me to Spain. Why is my heart breaking right now for my home? And so I just knew in some of these moments that kind of came together, I was like, there's something that God needs me to do here. And I have to follow that leading, regardless of like where I'm at right now in the onboarding or like what other people have spoken over me or what I'm currently feeling.
Kayla, how did you separate that? Because I think people could listen to and be like, oh, this is all very emotional. Like maybe she just was scared of leaving. Or maybe she was
there
like,
any fears that like what would pop up or what fears did you have to combat?
Or maybe she didn't actually want to go. And, you know, like how would you just talk about like the difference between, because I know you, so I know like, no, if Kayla was called to go, she wouldn't let that stop her. But I think somebody listening, they could be like, oh, is this just, you were kind of afraid and so you backed out and these are all your excuses, you know? Like, so, I mean, just speak to that. Like,
yeah, honestly, it was just a lot of prayer and just saying, God, like, if you want me to stay, you got to make this very clear because it was just as clear of why I should go to Spain initially. And now like I'm pulling out of, you know, missions. People had given support and now I'm telling them like, hey, your money that was given to me is now not to me, but, you know, in support of my term, like that's not going to where you had designated it now. And just, there was a lot of wrestling in there, but I ultimately had to say. It
came at a cost for sure.
Yeah. It was a lot of private time with the Lord in prayer, but also just like weighing it with people that I knew I could trust that would give me an unbiased answer. Ones that wouldn't say, yes, go because I want you to go, or yes, stay because I want you to stay.
Right.
So,
would you say has that been the greatest test of discerning God's voice in your life up to this point?
Mm-hmm.
And what thoughts, like what feeling, like I'm just trying to actually like empathize and feel what that would be like.
Well, because it's further than like God spoke to me. It's further than like people have invested money. There's pressure from people. You know, people aren't. You're going to be misunderstood. Like it was just a whole different versus like, oh, never mind. Like God spoke something different.
Not just me, not just me and the Lord. Like a lot of people have a view and
like
voice.
There's a weight
into
to
this.
it.
And it wasn't like something that I could share with everybody too, because the way he speaks to me is just so personal, and it's been these like interwoven stories and visions that he's given me over the years.
Right.
And so to all of a sudden insert another person into it and try to explain it,
sure.
you know, I either sound crazy,
right,
or they just can't like comprehend that. Yeah. So in a way,
which everybody understands because everybody has relationships that are really complex and have depth, and you try to explain dynamics of it, and you only understand if you're in it.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
So how did you, and maybe you already touched on this. I'm just trying to go back to some of the questions we had wrote, but like, so how did you discern between your own desires or feelings, like maybe fleshly even feelings, and God's leading?
I ultimately just said, like, Lord, this is what you're doing right now. I'm going to like follow you until I feel like this door is actually closing.
Yeah.
And over time, like it did close because he pointed me more to Bismarck than to Spain.
Yeah.
And so once I came to that conclusion, I went to just a couple that I trusted really highly. And I said, hey, this is what I think I'm experiencing right now. I think this is what the Lord is saying to me. I just want like another sounding board who's going to give me an unbiased, just viewpoint. Like, am I in the wrong, or do you notice in me any like faults or weaknesses where I'm doing this out of fear or making this decision out of like my own desires?
Right.
And they knew me well. They knew my strengths. They knew my weaknesses, my tendencies, and they're like, no, you're good. Like, keep following this direction.
Wow.
So that was ultimately like a reassurance and a peace for me.
Totally.
Between, you know, prayer, just discerning it in my own spirit and then hearing that from them. Yeah.
How has this experience, I mean, I guess I maybe have a two-part question, but like the first part is like, how has it challenged your faith? Or maybe it hasn't challenged your faith, or like what was the most challenging part for you? Maybe that like decide which way you want to take it, or maybe both.
I think in all of it, there was this very hard part where I was just letting go
Right.
of everything. Like I'm very type A. I like to be organized. I like to know what's coming up. And
Yeah,
so,
it's not like Kayla's like this free spirit that'd be just like, is like, Lord, I'll just live in my van and go wherever.
which that does sound awesome. I just want to know like what model van is it?
I
What's
would
our
like a plan
route?
of
Like,
it.
what am I eating? But yeah, as I like transitioned from Minot to Bismarck, it was like a letting go of a kids pastor job that I loved, families that I loved, a ministry that I got to like help build that I loved.
Yeah.
Goodbye to my friends, and then getting to Bismarck and knowing like I'm going to be saying goodbye to my family. My sister's having a baby. I may never get to like know him ever.
Right.
So there was this open-handedness of like, okay, God, like I feel like you're stripping me of everything that I know and asking me to trust you with it and just to cling on to you and nothing else.
Right.
And so that was difficult and like challenging in my faith. And now even in like this season, I've kind of like shifted and learned to look at things and say like, I'm just a steward. Like whatever's in my hands right now, Lord, you've placed it there. You can take it whenever you want. You can leave it in my hands as long as you want. But ultimately, like I can't grasp onto anything and hope that it's going to stay according to my desires or my will.
Right.
You know, so that was really challenging for me to just like walk through and try to figure out, or even saying like, I don't even know what the next 2 to 5 year plan is for my life. I thought I did, and now I don't. Right. But there's also a freeing feeling in that too, just saying like, it's in the Lord's hands. He knows when he feels like I'm ready to know or wants to reveal the next part, then he will.
And that was very much, I think, when we sat down, like, you know, you like explained some things to me, just like, hey, I want to explain to you what the Lord's led me through. And yeah, it was very much like, I'm just trying to be obedient, but for some reason he's giving me a heart for Bismarck. And I think that can just, maybe anyone can relate to that of like, you couldn't explain it. Like your heart and maybe dreams, and even since you were young has been like, this is what I'm going to go do. But then now, Lord, when the Lord gives you a burden for a place, like it's very evident. And would you say, like, even, I know
Can I
you're
ask
in
a question quick?
Yes, yeah, please.
Were you disappointed? And were other people disappointed? And how did you handle the disappointment of it all?
That's a loaded question.
There was a lot of disappointment because a dream that I had as a child got buried again. So I had buried it in past seasons when I thought, you know, like now is the time, and it wasn't.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, great. Well, it's closed again. You know, there was disappointment from people too. I mean, I lost some relationships that I thought would understand. And so there was just like, Lord, what's happening?
Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, like we have to look at life and say, I can't use like what other people think as a guide for what decisions I'm going to make. You know, I have to keep following what the Lord has planned for me. And, you know, even if that leaves me all alone, it's better to be in God's will than to follow the will of other people and be in a mess, you know?
Do you feel like that statement you just said was true when you were headed to Spain versus true when you made the shift to stay? Like,
is that something you learned through this, or did you already understand that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm even saying like when you're like, no, I'm going to Spain, you probably were also facing disappointment from people in other ways.
Yep.
Right? So like, it's just like,
it was very much on both sides.
Yeah. In both situations in different, different ways.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you feel like God taught you through that? Is there a part of you feel like, I always talk about of like, this part of my flesh definitely died through that situation. Like God allowed me to walk through it. And I do believe that part of my flesh has died. Do you feel like there are parts of you that he allowed to be like stripped off or kind of die off by walking through
some of that? Yeah.
A very unique situation?
And I'll go back to even like a few months ago, before all of this, I had read the book, The Awe of God by John Bevere, and just learning to like let go of everything else. Like nothing else matters except for the Lord and his sovereignty and what he's done for us. And so that was also an anchor saying, okay, like if I can handle disappointment or opinions or all of that, you know, that's fine. Like people can say what they want, think what they want, but ultimately, like I know what God is leading me to or what he's asked me to do in this particular season.
Right.
And that matters way more to me. Like I want to please my Lord way more than I want to please people.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me because I am a people pleaser.
Yes.
Like I like to like care for others, make others happy. And so like learning to navigate that and say like, no, I'm standing my ground in what I know the Lord has asked me to do was very huge for me.
Yeah.
As in growth.
We were talking to somebody recently who talked about when you come into seasons of life or ages in life where your life doesn't look like what you thought it would, or there's certain boxes you haven't checked yet, or you thought you'd be in Spain and you're not. And how do you keep like a godly perspective? Because obviously you're still leading in God's kingdom, a very fruitful life, Yeah. But how do you keep perspective?
And that depends on your definition of fruitful too, right? Like,
I would say souls are being impacted by Kayla's life. That's what I mean by fruitful. Like definitely all in on serving the kingdom of God and reaching people. But how have you learned to maintain a right heart or a right attitude and all of us have this, right? Where you realize like, oh, I thought I would have done X by now, or Y by now. Yeah. And now here I am and I don't even know if it'll ever happen, And how have you learned to kind of keep yourself in the Lord? And I know there's ups and downs, there's disappointing moments, but what's the constant for you? Yeah. I'm just thinking of people who are listening who are maybe like, we've been praying for the baby and that baby hasn't come yet. We thought that we would be in a financially different position than we're in right now. We thought, I'm this age and I don't have the relationship with my kid. I'm still in the same job
for 13 years and I feel like the Lord still hasn't brought the right people.
Yeah, I don't have the right friendships or I don't know what my calling is, like whatever. How have you kept a right heart and a right spirit and close to the Lord even in the midst of navigating that?
I think for me, it's so easy to get caught up in what could have been or what could be in the future. And so what's helped grounded me is staying present in the moment. Like God has me here in Bismarck. Would I want to be in Spain? Yeah. But he has me in Bismarck and I love Bismarck. So what can I do for Bismarck right now? And so, like, for example, shortly after like transitioning out of missions, I needed a job. Yeah. And so I had no idea what I was going to do, but a mutual friend connected me with one of the secretaries at Bismarck High School. And so she emailed me. She's like, hey, we need some building subs. Would you want to work for us? I was like, yes, like that'd be wonderful. I love the school I graduated from too. And so I would sit in the classrooms and there would be some days where I was like, I wonder what life would have been like right now if I were sitting in Madrid, And I had to remind myself, well, I'm not in Madrid, but I'm in Bismarck. And
I'm talking to Jenaye going, I think Kayla's in Bismarck. What's she doing? Like, there's got to be a place.
Our conversation in the four walls of our home was like, Lord, why? Yeah, Lord, why did you bring Kayla back to Bismarck? Like, not trying to be nosy, Lord, but what?
She can't just fly under the radar. That's not a pilot joke, by the way.
See what you did there? That was a good Shaldaism right there.
So I was like, well, he has me here right now. And I remember sitting in one of the classrooms one day and the Lord spoke to me kind of between the class periods. And he's like, Kayla, Spain and Bismarck are one and the same. Like you can reach people here. Yeah. And I started to see my job differently. Like, yes, I needed a job and I was there to earn, a living, but I started to care for those students way more. Like I saw them as if they were my own kids ministry kids. Yeah. And obviously like there's certain like restrictions of what I can and can't say at a school. And I abided by all of those. I wanted to respect the organization and, the educational sphere and things. But God kept giving me moments to minister to students in those rooms. Like I had students just plop down to my desk and I'm a sub. Like nobody comes and talks to the sub because they don't care.
Who am I?
I'm not their real teacher. But students would just plop down my desk and they would tell me all of these things that were weighing on their heart. And I got to be like a safe person or just, like a sound adult to share advice and wisdom with them. I even had it was a crazy story. I think I shared some of it with you, but God gave me an entire class period to like teach a student how to hear God's voice, because she opened the door, found out that I was a kids pastor, and asked me like what my favorite part about that was. And I shared hearing God's voice, and she's like, can you teach me? And so we just chatted for a good 50 minutes because she was done with everything that she needed to do. And so I'm explaining all of this to her. And then at the end she goes, Miss M, like, I have goosebumps right now. Like what is happening to me? And I'm like, girl, you're feeling the presence of God.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. So I had moments like that, or even just this one student that kind of overheard part of that conversation, but I also like saw her throughout the year. And like October-ish, she told me like, yep, I don't believe what you believe. And then she told me what she believes in. Like, okay, that's fair. Saw her a couple months later. She told me she bought a devotional book. And I said, girl, you told me you don't believe what I believe. Like, why do you have this? Like, tell me more. She's like, I'm just really curious to learn. And saw her a couple months later. She walks right up to my desk and she goes, Miss M, I started reading my Bible. I'm so excited. And so I just had all of these moments like in the public school system to minister and be a light and just love on all of these broken students. And so just staying grounded in the moment and saying, God, okay, like I'm walking into math today, or I'm walking into science. Like, what can I do for your kingdom in this moment? And that fueled me. And just, I fell in love with subbing and being in that atmosphere.
Which are you even still? Like on your days off, you'll like go.
On Fridays, I sub still.
I love that.
I just want to say for the record, I also would rather go to Spain and preach on a red box than walk into math or science.
For real.
In my life.
That's fair.
Josh too. Every February, Josh has to say, Lord, you need to renew our love and calling here.
Every February. When it's negative 30 out, I'm like, I am called to this place and these people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the weather in Madrid, it's beautiful. The food is delicious. It's a fun culture. So
yeah.
For real,
doesn't get to negative 70 with the wind chill.
Oh, that's
so.
right. That's right.
That's what makes you tough.
I feel like you even you answered one of the questions, like, has God opened any unexpected doors in the changing of plans? And yeah, I've loved those stories from the school. And even I think like the open door here at Evangel, like that was never, even like first time we met, that was just never a part. It was like, what have you walked through? What's the Lord doing? How can we support you, in this time?
Yeah, I would have never thought that it would have brought me here.
Right.
Like, and I love being here. It's just like every time I walk in, I'm like, holy cow, like look at the process that God's brought me on.
Word. Yeah.
But would have never thought.
It's been a joy having you back on team.
Thank you.
And just, it's just fun.
My heart is full of gratitude. I'm not even joking, because you and I both know the early days of you being a volunteer, being, what was it, ELA at the time rather than MLC?
ELA.
And carrying the whole kids ministry. And now I look at our kids ministry and I'm like, the amazing team that God has brought to our church.
Right, too.
We do have an incredible team.
To be, you were part of like foundation building, right? Of things that still play a part in what exists now, right? Like you can't just build off nothing. And so I hope that's been like a sweet, hopefully, realization for you as well, and reflection too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just even watching where Pastor Kyle, Pastor Raymond, the whole team, where they've taken eKids, like I couldn't be happier.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool. If you could go back and encourage yourself during the moment of change, what would you say?
Man, there were a lot of just emotions and a lot of ups and downs, valleys through the whole transition of everything. And I think I would have just given myself the encouragement of, just keep your eyes on Jesus, just hold on to him. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
There's going to be days where, it's going to feel awful. You're not going to know even what the next day holds or who to trust or like what people say, anything like that. But just as long as you keep your eyes on Jesus, like he's going to bring you through this. Like actually, I'll take that back. I mean, not take that back, like all of that. Absolutely. But one of my like mantras or my mottos that I've like kind of hung on to in this season is that he makes everything beautiful. So even in those broken moments where I didn't know what was ahead or why he was saying what he was saying, or even just how to process what he was speaking to me, just remembering like he makes everything beautiful in his time and it's going to work out, even in the moments where it feels like everything fell apart.
Right.
even when it was supposed to be squares in Madrid that were becoming gardens, now he makes beautiful moments in Bismarck and wherever you are. And,
So true.
and we do believe like that God has put those things in your heart, you know, and they're going to come to pass in due time, you know, and for you and so many people that are listening, sometimes it's just a matter of when, you know, we all have dreams and things that we hope for, but also maybe God has spoken to us that are sitting on the shelf. And we're going, Lord, when can I pick this up?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and if you'd never let me, I'll still be submitted and I'll still serve, but I hope I get to pick it up, you know?
Right.
I mean, he does resurrect dead things.
Yes,
so
yes,
true.
that's true.
Yeah.
So true.
And sometimes they're not even dead. They're just on the shelf for the moment. You know?
Right. Moment.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about before on the podcast of like, I try more and more, which you can't boil down the life of following Jesus, but like over and over again, I just keep coming back to like, really the life of following Jesus is like, listen and abide, discern, obey.
Yeah.
Listen, abide. Like, it's like, be with him, fixate on him, hear what he's saying, discern it. Like, you have to discern and then do it. And then it's just like, and I think sometimes it's like, I do that cycle once and it's all determined. And it's like, no, this is a never ending daily, weekly, monthly.
Yep.
And so I think I was excited to have you on the podcast because I do so appreciate your attunement to the voice of God.
Yeah.
How he speaks to you, like you said, visions and even like just very depictive pictures.
Yeah.
And then just your relationship with him through your journaling. And you just referenced that in scripture, like to someone earlier today of like, you got to start recording these things.
Yeah. I think a huge part of that, and I don't want to in any way like weaken your time with the Lord by saying this, but the one thing you do, a bare minimum, is even by having a practice of journaling, that to me says you're setting aside significant time every day to just listen and reflect and record.
Yeah.
And I think most people just rush through, you know, or we all get caught up rushing through. So at a bare minimum, if you want to hear the voice of the Lord, it requires that
slow down in time.
That slow down. And you've obviously 110 journals in have mastered the slow down, you know, at different points throughout your day.
Yeah. And that's been a process too. And, you know, sometimes it comes in, I'm going to journal for 2 hours and I have coffee shop time to just journal out a prayer, and 15 pages later and everything's out on the table before the Lord. And other moments it's, you know, like, Lord, where are you speaking to me right now? I'm going to jot that down later and, you know, process it when I have time or when I can, but it's looked different in different seasons. So
yeah, we have to close because Kayla's not on the mission field, but we are both supposed to be in a meeting about what God is doing on the mission field. So God is still using that part of who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm just excited to have even a front row seat of what because you obviously have a heart for missions and just like, okay, Lord, what are you going to do with that? And even you obviously have a mission here in Bismarck too, right? And so
missions has not gone away in my life. It will never.
No.
So,
yeah, love it. So thank you for being open, transparent, and willing to share your journey, you know, with us and all the listeners.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
Kayla. Yeah.
Yes,
thank you, everybody who listened today. And if you enjoyed this podcast or believe it could help somebody else, then share it, subscribe so you don't miss one. And we'll see you next time.